Hello everyone, welcome to this Jazzlines Ensemble tutorial session. Today we're going to be talking about rhythm and specifically how we can use rhythm to create and resolve tension in music. I'm going to start by using a few Latin rhythms to demonstrate how we can use these rhythms in tension and resolution. And I'm going to start with a really simple rhythm, which is just 2 and beat 4. So beat 2 and beat 4. It goes like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in that really short example, it's just 1 bar long, but we have a really great example of tension and release. If we think about off beats as being tension and on beats as being a release. So if you just listen to it again with that in mind: 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got the tension on the 2 and, release on beat 4. I'm going to play a couple of grooves that you should be able to hear that rhythm in, mostly with the bass drum. Have a little listen, see if you can hear that rhythm. So that groove was called a cascara, and the bass drum pattern that you heard is the 2 and beat 4. We call this tumbao. There's a couple of other grooves with a great tumbao in, so I'm going to play a songo for you and see if you can hear it in that as well. So again there, you can hear the tumbao in the bass. So another rhythm that uses the tumbao is the calypso. See if you can hear the bass drum pattern in this as well. Occasionally I was hitting on beat 1 as well, which is quite standard for the calypso. And even then, you get an even bigger release on beat 1. I'm actually just going to play that again so that you can hear that release of the bass drum on beat 1 as well as 2 and beat 4. So as I said earlier, this is the shortest example that I can think of that uses tension and resolution. It's just 4 beats long. I'm going to play you a couple of other rhythms now that use tension and resolution using off beats and on beats, and I'll do this using some South American rhythms as well. So I'm going to start with the samba. There's a snare drum pattern in the samba that's called the partido alto. This goes like this. Let me give you a click so you can hear where that starts. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this partido alto is a 2-bar pattern. It starts on the beat, moves off the beat in the middle of the 2-bar pattern, and then it moves back on the beat again. Let me play that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. On, off, off, off. On, off, off, on. Let me put that in context for you. So hopefully you can hear within that groove the tension and resolution that the rhythm on the partido alto provides. I'm going to give you an example of what the first rhythm that I played, the cascara, might sound like with a band. Again, see if you can hear the tumbao in the bass drum, and the bass is actually going to play the tumbao with me as well. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, great. Thanks, guys. Fantastic. So what I'd like to do now is just to demonstrate some of these rhythms that I've talked about in some context with these musicians. So we're going to start with the cascara, then we're going to play the songo, then the calypso, and then the samba. This might sound a little bit weird going from rhythm to rhythm, but this is going to give you a good example of how these rhythms sound in context. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. Fantastic. So hopefully you heard there, while it would have sounded a little bit strange going from groove to groove, hopefully you heard there the difference in these grooves, and maybe you even spotted which groove suited that track best. I'll leave that to you. So one of the other things I want to demonstrate today is how we can use rhythm to create and resolve tension in improvisation, which is obviously something we do a lot of in jazz. I'm going to talk about creating short bouts of tension and long bouts of tension as well. Obviously, this applies to drummers, but it also does apply to everyone else. No matter what instrument you play, you can definitely create tension and resolution by using these rhythms. Again, if we think about off beats as being tension and on beats as being resolution. So we're going to play a blues now. And in the last 2 bars of the head of the blues, I'm going to start playing some off beats. I'm going to start creating some tension. Who knows, maybe the musicians that I'm playing with might pick up on it as well. So here we go. We're going to play a blues. Listen out for the last 2 bars of this head, and see if you can hear the tension that's being created. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, guys. Fantastic. So hopefully you can hear then the kind of tension that we were trying to build in the last 2 bars of that head. Really trying to play off beats a lot, not trying to give a whole lot of what was going on the on beat, but still trying to keep the time going in some way or shape or form. I know that Ben was picking up on what I was doing. Sometimes when we were playing off beats, they were definitely locking up, and then that meant that when we did come back to the cymbal time on all 4 beats at the top of the head, that tension was completely resolved. It was really fantastic. So I want to talk a little bit about creating long bouts of tension now. So maybe using the whole of the chorus to create this tension and then resolve it at the start of the next head. This is particularly good for building into solos, or even out of solos as well, actually. I tend to use this a lot coming out of heads. So when someone's playing the melody, I might keep it really, really sparse. And then when we go into the solo, it's absolutely driving on all 4 beats. You'll hear an example of that now. So we'll keep the head really, really loose. And then when we go into the solos, it's going to really drive. So see if you can hear that. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Great stuff. So hopefully you can hear them. We did it twice. So with the melody for the first 12 bars, we kept it super loose. We were playing a lot of offbeats, a lot of polyrhythms, a lot of 3/4. We can talk about that in a little bit. But basically just keeping the time super loose and really quite ambiguous as to where the beat was. You could hear that build as we were going into Tom's solo, really sort of building up into that driving 4/4 swing. And I hope you could hear the resolution that came when we started swinging at the start of the solo. Then in the second chorus of the solo, we did the same thing again. So we really stripped it back, started playing super loose again. And I think there was another one of those 3/4 things happening for sure. And then at the end of that chorus of Tom's solo, we built it right back up again and went straight into that 4/4 swing. So hopefully with those two demonstrations there, you could hear what we were trying to do. So I briefly mentioned 3/4s, polyrhythms. I mean, I kind of don't really want to talk about that today because that's not what I feel that this is about. But one of the things I do want to talk about is the dotted quarter note and how we can use that over a swing pattern to create enormous amounts of tension. So we're going to play blues again, and I'm going to just basically play a relentless dotted quarter note over that. So hopefully you can hear what's going on my ride cymbal. I'm going to keep the 2 and 4 going on the hi-hat so you can hear where the beat is, and obviously Ben's holding down the quarter note too. So see if you can hear this dotted quarter note that I'm going to be banging out on the ride, just to see if you can hear the tension that builds. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. So hopefully you could hear throughout that whole chorus the tension that dotted quarter note was building. But this isn't just exclusive for drummers. We can all get involved with these ways of creating tension through rhythm. So I'm going to ask Tom if he wouldn't mind maybe using that dotted quarter note in one of his solos, just so you can hear what it might sound like on a melodic instrument. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Thanks, Tom. That was perfect. So hopefully you can hear the push and the pull of that tension and resolution that's being created through those rhythms. So the last thing I want to talk about today is the difference between playing swung and straight music. This is something we do a lot of in jazz, and we're going to demonstrate this by playing a tune that switches between the two grooves. First off, though, I'm just going to play them both so that you can hear the difference. Here's a straight groove. And here's a swung groove. Hopefully you'll have heard the difference there between the two grooves, the straight and the swung. So the straight is a type of groove that you're going to hear a lot of in rock, funk music, soul, and then swung music tends to be more jazz, that you're going to be hearing that kind of groove in. So we're going to play the two of these grooves within this tune, just so that you can hear the difference in context. The tune's called On Green Dolphin Street, which I'm sure some of you will know. So if you've got a backing track or something that you can play along to, definitely check this tune out and see if you can get the difference between the straight and the swung grooves. So here we go. We're going to start with straight and we're going to move to swung. See if you can hear the difference between the two. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, cool. So, like I say, hopefully there you were hearing the difference between the straight and the swung grooves. I also tried to throw in a couple of the other things that we've spoken about today, building short tension. There wasn't so much of building long tension because we were focusing on the switching of grooves, but there was definitely some shorter tension builds, and that really is emphasized by the difference in these two grooves, the switch between straight and swung. I also threw in some dotted crotchet, the relentless dotted crotchet ride cymbal thing. Again, I hope you heard that. And yeah, these are just a couple of the ways that you can use rhythm to create and resolve tension in your music. Get involved as a band. I mean, not so much at the moment, but when you do get back playing with other people, definitely check this out and you know, talk about it with your ensemble. And also it's something that you can practice individually and think about while you're soloing too. So definitely get involved with some rhythm as ways of creating tension and resolution. So thanks again for watching this video and checking out the Jazzlines Ensemble tutorials. Check out some of the other videos too. They're really good, really informative, and hope to see you soon. Thanks.